So it's an interesting political year, and joining us in the studio today is Reverend Lennox Yearwood, the founder of the Hip Hop Caucus. You're focused on getting more young people out to vote. How do you do that?
Well, we make it fun. We make voting a lifestyle. Well, first, Anna Mark, thank you for having me.
Our pleasure.
It's good to be here
Glad
in
to have
Denver.
you here.
Yes, indeed. We make voting fun. We make it enjoyable, but we make it serious so folks know the stakes that are happening now in this election process.
Are young people involved? We are both very active in social media, and we see a lot of the engagement, especially to young people. Are young people paying attention to all of this, or is it a challenge?
No. They are very much paying attention. Young people understand what's at stake. Issues regarding climate change, issues regarding education, healthcare, and they realize that this generation must make their voice heard. And they want to shape policy. And they want to make sure that policy is not shaping them. And so when they hear the candidates regarding either Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump or whoever, local, state levels, they want to make sure that the policies being put forth now are not only good policies for today, but for tomorrow.
Is there one particular issue or one particular candidate or one item this year that you see is really getting people mobilized?
Well, I was in town this past week regarding the issue of dealing with climate change. And for 80% of millennials, they want renewable energy. They realize that we must transition from fossil fuels to clean energy. And the thing about that, 80% of young folks who want to transition from fossil fuels to clean energy, that's an amazing number.
Yeah.
And so you think about that, and they see the policies not reflecting that. They see us still dealing with fracking. They see us still doing other issues of fossil fuels. So for them, they say, well, hold up. Let's really get a gauge on this, make sure I wish I heard at the ballot box, and hopefully that would shape policy in regards to this issue.
We should point out you are in Colorado. You are being honored by Conservation Colorado for your advocacy, for your action on climate change, particularly involving young people and communities of color. Talk about the relationship and what the message is and why these two issues come together.
Well, you might see me smiling because, I mean, we try to make voting and process fun. But for me, there is a side where I'm originally from Louisiana. And 10.5 years ago, we dealt with Hurricane Katrina. And so for me, seeing people, and I was also an Air Force officer, and so I love my country, but then seeing people, particularly poor people of color, left behind and dying. We see it now even in Houston, and all parts around our country, people who are literally being swept away with the floods. We can do better than that. And so we've been advocating from those who are in New Orleans to those who are in Flint, for those who are in Houston, all around this country, dealing with not just pollution, but also poverty and how they connect, and clearly the policy that affect those. But for me, it's really about how we can make our country great and make it so that we can not just be so dependent on fossil fuels and not so dependent on oil and coal and gas, but transition to renewable, such as wind and solar.
I know you've been active in Flint. Mark's from Michigan. My husband's from Flint. So we definitely have ties to the Michigan area.
So you know how important this is.
Absolutely. So what is it specifically you're doing in Flint to help make a difference here?
Well, I mean, clearly Flint shows why policy and those who are elected are so important. You know, we believe that what happened with Flint, that there are politicians who did not care or did not really understand what could happen. There's no reason, as you can imagine, for mothers and fathers to be bathing their children in water that's filled with lead. Children having literally rashes on their body. People who can't drink it, literally putting bottled water over their body. So I think that with Flint, we've been advocating regards to fixing that crisis. One, making sure that people have clean water. But also we've been pushing for that Governor Snyder can create a fund that can literally, the money from that can help restore folks. We've done it in fun ways. On our site, we have a thing called People's Climate Music. And it's this great site where we have music with artists. We had a recent video called Trouble in the Water by Common, the actor and Oscar-winning Common, did a video called Trouble in the Water, really bringing the issues of Flint to the forefront. That video, in 72 hours on Facebook, got over 1 million views,
wow.
Showing how people really want to be engaged in this issue regarding Flint.
As far as young people are concerned, a lot of criticism in this election is that some of the adults haven't been necessarily having adult-like conversations. Yeah. Do you feel that young people, regardless of their political affiliation, are able to have a little bit more, perhaps, substantive conversations than some of the adults are? Is there something that being young just inherently brings to the table?
Well, I think this is the thing. Our country has come so far. I mean, we've come from a place where it wasn't just black or white or brown and yellow. We've come because we can be Americans. And so I think to hear the conversation kind of spill into a place where it's name calling and literally being this in the gutter, that's not where we want to be. So I think that young folks who are literally fighting for a new generation want to hear the conversation be one that's uplifting and one that's about our country being in a position where we can do things for its citizens.
All right, final question here. I know there is not a Hip Hop Caucus here in Colorado, a chapter. Is that the goal here today?
So you're ready to get one started. I'm assuming this round table here.
Too old.
No, you're never too old. You're never too old. But there isn't quite one. I mean, we're national, but we would love to have Hip Hop Caucus here in this great state of Colorado and in Denver and all around. Clearly, it's not about black or white, but it's about people coming together, using their cultural experience to show their political exposure.
Fascinating.
And that is the goal.
That's great.
That's the goal.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Good to have you here.
Good to be here.
We will be right back.